Hello and welcome. We'd like to invite you on a short journey with us into a single powerful story from Chinese culture. It's a whole lesson, all held within just 4 characters.
It's one of those classic paradoxes, right? It's a puzzle that philosophers have wrestled with for ages, and it really tests the limits of logic. And believe it or not, it's at the very heart of the idea we're going to explore today.
What you're looking at here are those 4 characters. Together, they form what's called a Chinese idiom, or chengye. And inside them is a wonderful ancient story that gets right to the heart of that puzzle.
So let's dive in. Let's look at this idea piece by piece, almost like we're examining an old artifact, to really understand what it's telling us.
The very first character is pronounced Z. It gives us the sense of something coming from oneself, or more simply just self.
Next up, we have xiang. Now this one means mutually or each other. It suggests a relationship, a connection between 2 things.
And our third character is Mao. This word means spear. That ancient weapon, really designed for just one thing, to attack, to pierce through.
And that brings us to our final character, Dun. This is a shield. It's a tool for defense, made to protect, to block whatever comes at it.
So what happens when we put it all together? Self, mutually, spear, shield. We get the full idiom, Zixiangmaodun, and in English it translates perfectly to self-contradiction. It's for when your words or your actions just don't line up, kind of like a spear trying to attack its very own shield.
So where does this idea even come from? Well, for that, we need to travel back in time. I want you to picture a really busy marketplace in the ancient Chinese state of Chu, maybe a little over 2,000 years ago.
Okay, so in this crowded market, there's a merchant, and he's proudly showing off his goods. First, he holds up a spear for everyone to see, and he boasts, "My spear is so sharp, it can pierce anything in the world." And then he grabs a shield, and he makes another incredible claim. "And my shield is so strong, nothing in the world can pierce it."
Now the crowd is definitely impressed by all this. But then someone in the crowd thinks for a second, steps forward, and asks a really simple but devastating question.
So, what if you use your spear to strike your shield?
And just like that, the entire marketplace goes quiet. The merchant, who was so loud and confident just a moment before, was completely speechless. He'd backed himself into a corner with his own words and had absolutely no way out. This story is so much more than just a clever little tale. It's actually a really profound lesson about logic and how we use language, and it's been echoing through the culture for centuries. So let's unpack the wisdom here. At its heart, the lesson is really simple. An unstoppable spear and an unbreakable shield just can't exist in the same world. It's a logical impossibility. This story shows us so brilliantly how making these huge, exaggerated claims can trap us. It's a timeless reminder to be thoughtful and to make sure our words and our actions are consistent with each other.
And this isn't just some old folktale either. It actually comes from a really important text in Chinese philosophy called the Han Feizi. It was written during the Warring States period, which was a time of incredible conflict. So back then, the need for clear, logical thinking wasn't just some academic exercise. It was critical for political survival. That just shows you how deep the roots of this idea really are.
So that's the ancient world. But how does a story about spears and shields have anything to do with our lives today? Well, what's so fascinating is that this idiom is used all the time to point out the exact same kind of contradiction.
Right. Here's a perfect example you could easily hear at work. Someone might say, last week you told us we should work fewer hours to improve our focus, but this week you just assigned a massive project that's due on Monday. Isn't that a bit of a 自相矛盾? It's a really sharp but still polite way of pointing out that what someone is saying and what they are doing don't quite match up.
And there you have it, the story of the spear and the shield. A simple, timeless reminder of the power and the paradox that could live inside our words.
Learn Chinese one story at a time.